another episode of Amazing Conversations. I am your host, DeAndrea Revels, and joining me today, I have an associate licensed counselor by the name of Ms. DeAndrea Peterson, and she is located in the greater Alabama area. So if you would join me in welcoming, I call her Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee.
Hey, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Great. So I wanted to have this conversation with you because, as you know, we are actually into the second year of the pandemic, and of course many of us thought that we would be so over this by now.
Yeah.
But it's still here, and I know that a lot of people are still trying to cope with the stresses of it because it has literally changed what our norm is.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the areas that I was in a seminar, a session where you were instructing and you were talking about the importance of self-care. And given the fact, the climate, what we're living in, I thought that that would be an excellent topic to discuss, to just kind of, let people know the importance of self-care and what self-care is. So before you start into that, if you would, just kind of give a little background about you and what you do.
Okay. First, thank you for having me. Self-care, my experiences with self-care, first as a professional. I've worked as a counselor in the state of Alabama for about 7 years now. And I did some work before then as a bachelor's level counselor. Currently in pursuit of my doctoral education to be a counselor educator.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that, to get in the classroom and teach, which has also been one of my passions. The greatest thing that we've seen so far in our profession is there has been a major influx of people seeking mental health services. I mean, the different reasons that people are seeking right now. Some of our kids, we do a lot of mental health therapy with families, and a lot of the children are in the home for extended periods of time, like if they close the school down,
Right.
And then they have to stay at home with the parent. The parent is stressed because I now have all of my children the entire day, and I'm not a teacher, and I don't know how to do magic math or whatever the core curriculum is. So parent stress levels are rising. In an unhealthy home, sometimes they take that out on the children.
Right.
So there's also an increase in reports to Department of Human Resources. And then there are some people that are just struggling simply because their workloads have increased. People are not coming to work. So therapy is a place that you can share your thoughts and feelings without judgment. A lot of times we'll share, that doesn't sound healthy. Here's an example of healthy. Where do you fit in that picture? So self-care is so important. If you are to a point where you need therapy, there are a lot of different places that offer online telehealth services. But personally, for me, self-care as an individual, I know people say that therapists need self-care, but we do,
Right.
just like everyone else.
Right.
We have to invest in ourselves to keep ourselves mentally and physically healthy as well.
So I heard you mention therapy, and in the African American community, sometimes that can be considered a taboo term.
Yeah.
However, I know and have learned that counseling and therapy are the things that really keep you going, especially if you're at the point of breaking, rather than just stay there in that situation. I think it's important to seek outside intervention. What's your thoughts?
Oh, yes, of course I'm a big advocate for therapy. Growing up myself, we spent a lot of time in church. So church did, our relationships with God gave us a certain amount of balance, but sometimes you need someone to kind of just help you work through the problem. And we may talk to a friend, but the friend has a biased opinion. We may talk to a family member. The family member has a biased opinion. And sometimes we need independence in making our decision. In the African American community, honestly, it may sound wild, but I think every black person in America needs therapy.
Well, look, my mother, she's so funny. She was telling me, they said that over 85% of Americans have some instability, that, they need mental health. And, a lot of times people may kind of make a joke out of it, But honestly,
Yeah.
given, what we have to deal with on a daily basis, it can be a lot. And you have to know what options or what outlets you have to, again, try and hold yourself together. You mentioned another point. You talked about the church. And a lot of people, they think, well, if I go to church and I pray about it, God, he's going to answer all my prayers, and that's all I need. And I, too, of course, I'm a pastor's wife, and I do understand that prayer changes things. I know that. I have faith, and I believe in God. But I also know that God put people in certain positions so that they can even supplement even the spiritual stuff. And I say that because for some people, it's more than just church. I mean, you need to see outside intervention. Even when you talk about self-care, a lot of people, they think that, oh, you're being selfish. But sometimes I think it's okay to be selfish. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, the first law of preservation is self-preservation.
Self-preservation.
It's like on the airplane, they tell you to put the mask over your face before you put the mask over your child's face. Because if you pass out, you can't help nobody else.
That's right.
So a lot of times when it comes to self-care and our relationships with God, God is the creator of everything.
Right.
He created therapy. He created, in some instances, medication. Some people may need medication for a short period of time until they're able to regain balance on their own. For some people, medication improves their way of life and they need to take it for the rest of their life. But everybody's path is different in therapy. Nobody's path is the same. I may need to come to therapy for 3 months and I can develop a plan and I can follow the plan on my own, and I check in with my therapist once a month. Some people need to come every week because the situation that they're dealing with is so overwhelming that they need help. And along with that help, it doesn't, water down your relationship with God, or I don't trust God because I'm talking to somebody else. They can't help me more than God can. And in reality, God sends people to help us.
Yes, he does.
He'll send you a helper. So sometimes we have to get out of our own way, so to speak. And you can always choose a Christian counselor. That's the beautiful thing about therapy. I have some clients that reach out to me. They want a black therapist. They don't want someone that doesn't look like them. Then I have some white clients that say, I want a white therapist. Because therapy is about you connecting with the person that's helping you. And if you can connect better with one person or the other, it's about your experience, not about the therapist that you're working with.
Right.
So sometimes it's referring people to someone that they're comfortable with so they can start that journey of balance for themselves and eventually get to a place where they are doing self-care on a regular basis.
So let's talk about some examples of self-care. I know, again, I mentioned the seminar where you were teaching, and you had all the participants to go around and kind of give their definition of self-care. For instance, for me, as I shared, and I'll say again, because sometimes because of my responsibilities as a pastor's wife, as the executive of the outreach and nonprofit, and a mother and a wife, a lot of times I just want to be by myself. I don't want to talk, and I just may want to just take a road trip and, read for a day, just stay home with no interruptions. To me, that's self-care, making sure that I take care of, my body as it relates to, the things that a lot of women like to do, the manicures, the pedicures, and things like that. But what are some examples, other examples that you can share? Because I know that it's different for each individual.
Right. I guess each thing that calms someone is different. Like for me, part of my self-care.
I like that, calm.
Yeah, is exercise. Nah, I'm hurting. I ain't gonna lie. I be hurting sometimes. But even if I don't go to the gym, I'm going for a walk. Because when I'm walking, I'm exerting a certain amount of energy. And if I'm frustrated, it allows the energy to be redirected into the exercise.
And it costs no money.
Right, and it's free 99. So I love to go for a walk and to be outdoors. I'll take my favorite playlist. I'll turn it on. I usually have an end to the destination because you have to have boundaries. in anything that you're doing, self-care included, because some of us are self-care too much, and we disengage everything else, and it turns into depression.
Okay.
So when you're deciding what type of self-care works best for you, there are some things you have to remember. The first thing is prioritize.
Okay.
When you have, like you said, responsibilities, we think of our family first.
Right.
We think of our job next, and we think of everything else after that. My challenge would be my relationship with God first. Because if I can stay in a state of balance with Him,
That's great.
it tends to affect everything else.
That's right.
My patience with my children, my patience with my husband, my patience with the people at my job. So prioritizing, and a part of prioritizing is setting a boundary. Some of us are good at doing a lot of things at once, but just because you're good at all of them don't mean you should do all of them.
So even in setting boundaries, I believe you're saying it's okay to say no.
Oh yes, you gotta practice. Gotta practice at it. Now some people in our lives get yeses faster than others. Spouses get a yes, children sometimes get a yes. But when it comes to outside things outside of our relationship with God, our family, and what we need to do to take care of our families, you have to be selective with your time.
Absolutely.
So sometimes no sounds like, I would like to help you, but I'm not able right now. Or, in the future, I would like for you to keep me in mind, but right now, my commitments are maxed out. I can't take any other commitments right now. And then sometimes sharing a place that the person can receive what they need. If they say, like I've had old clients want to come back, after we've terminated and they're doing well, and then they hit a bump in the road and they're like, hey, I'd like to resume therapy services. But right now with COVID, we have so many clients, I can't take any more clients.
Right.
And the heart of me is like, oh my God, I just want to help this person. I want to work with them. But my self-care says, I can't take anyone right now. Because if I'm not well, I'm out of balance. It affects my family. It affects my job. It affects every aspect of my life. So you have to have boundaries. So saying no or not right now, for those people that are a little more sensitive, that don't like just no. Give another alternative still means no. It's just, it keeps my balance. And last is routine, a purposeful routine. My self-care is purposeful.
Okay.
I know I have to maintain a certain health level. We all have different health conditions. Our bodies are all made different. But taking care of your body is also self-care. And sometimes we neglect that. We'll say self-care is, I'm going to my favorite restaurant and I'm finna buy this fried chicken steak dinner. And then I'm finna get the chocolate cake.
Come on.
And I'm also gonna have a Coke. And I'm also a diabetic. And I don't need...
Give me an extra shot of insulin.
That's it. Like, I'm gonna take my insulin when I get home. I ain't gonna worry about it. God got it. I'm covered in the blood. But in reality, your self-care has to be purposeful.
Right.
So sometimes you can get a cheat meal within your dietary health. But you can't cheat all the time because you sabotage your own self-care inadvertently and then you put yourself in another situation that causes other issues. So self-care, your routine has to be purposeful. So thinking about the place that stresses me the most and putting a boundary there instead of waiting till I get overloaded and then like I can't take no more. That's it. No, you've already passed the threshold. You have to have a plan to stop, especially for clergy.
And that's important what you're saying because a lot of people, like you mentioned, clergy especially, a lot of people, they don't respect your boundaries. I mean, they feel as if, they can call you anytime of day or night.
And you should be available.
Should be available. I mean, they don't care that you're in the bathroom. They don't care that you're at the dinner table with your family. It's just that I am in a need and I need to talk to you. But I think when you can kind of say that in the beginning, you remember, let me tell y'all, my movie is The 5 Heartbeats. You ever watch that?
Yes, of course.
5 Heartbeats. And when Red comes in there and he says,
oh, my office hours.
My office hours are Monday through Friday. And it's like the guy wasn't getting it, but he had to reiterate it. And the next time he did it, he had to, be a little more forceful.
Like, okay, you don't understand, huh? Let me raise my voice a little bit.
Yeah. So that's important, and even that is okay. But I do believe once you kind of set the boundaries and you let people know, then most people, they abide within those boundaries. You know, a lot of times if you get something outside of that, then generally you know it's an emergency.
Right.
I guess I'm kind of speaking from our point of view, because I thank God for the members at our church. Most of them are quite respectful of boundaries and time. But even knowing that it's okay to have me time. You know, this is my time. I'm not taking any calls. I'm not going any place. And whatever I do today is just for me. That's okay. And I think a lot of times, especially as mothers, I think sometimes mothers can feel as if they're doing something wrong.
By taking a break.
Yeah, by taking a break. But again, just as you mentioned, in order for you to function properly, you have to first make sure that you're okay. And if me being okay means I need to take an hour or two break, you know, so that I can refresh, recharge, and come back and be what you need me to be, then I need you to allow me that. So boundaries are very key, very important, even as it relates to what you mentioned about prioritizing. Because a lot of times we can get so overwhelmed with doing seemingly a lot of stuff, but then you have to put in place, you know, what's most important, what needs to be done, what can wait till another day. You know, and I have to say, I'm a master that I have lists everywhere, Dee. I do.
Lists help.
They do. And that's how I have to manage my life, manage my time. Another thing my sister told me, and I say it often, I was stressing about something. She was like, sister, you gotta protect your peace.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that was a word. I mean, it just resonated with me, and I keep saying it because when she said that to me, I was thinking about all the little things I needed to do for this organization that I'm a part of, for that organization, for my family, and then it just got to the point, and then you have people want to call you and drop little things in your ear, and it's like, okay, I can't take, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know it. So you have to even know when to say, don't tell me that. You keep that to yourself. Yeah, because you have to protect your peace. Because if you don't have peace, then that in itself can disrupt your body, your balance.
Oh, definitely. And some people, because if they cannot find balance or peace within their own life, they inadvertently cause chaos in other people's lives. It's like you letting all your stuff bleed over here. I'm doing all right. You need to bleed. It's sad, but you bleed by yourself. Or let me find someone to help you so that you can properly get all of that out and help you find balance as yourself as an individual. But sometimes we look at our pastors as the person that is supposed to be the one that helps us find balance, when in reality, they're like a teacher. They give us guidelines according to the Word of God to stay stable, to balance ourselves. But they themselves are not our balance. They are not our peace. They are not our, adopted, stand-in surrogate dad until Jesus returns. Our pastor is someone that helps to guide us. One of my favorite things that my pastor told me, Apostle Felix, this was years ago. He said, you can't get it confused. It's God first, your family next, and then church.
Right.
So God may have called us to be ministers, called us to minister to other people, but you can't let your family suffer while you're going through a calling. If you create that balance inside of your life, like there are certain times my children need me more than others. When they play sports, I don't want to miss their games.
That's right.
I don't want them to look up in the stands and nobody's there. So I take off work, I cut the day short, and I'm going. But when I get done, and after I've been superwoman with my husband or whatever he need me to be, I'm taking my break.
Right.
And I'm not taking y'all with me. Because I'm a good mother when I take a break. When I don't have a break, I feel overwhelmed. When I don't have a break, my patience is short. I don't have the energy to deal with other people. So I purposely plan my break. I do it on purpose. I prioritize my family first. I'm going to give them their time. And they be like, oh, mama gone. Oh, she going walking? My husband be like, don't disturb your mama. Don't call her what you need. Call. I got it. let me handle it.
Let me
Because we have to balance that. And he takes time to take breaks for himself. And even my children. When they get home from school, sometimes parents be stressing kids need self-care. Like, man, look, can I just get a minute? I just got off the bus. Can I eat a snack? No, clean this house. They need a little self-care.
That's right. That's true.
Within balance.
That's true.
That's the biggest thing, is balancing it so that your self-care doesn't overtake your responsibilities, and your responsibilities don't overtake your self-care, which ends up affecting your health.
So, and that even lines up with teaching people how to treat you.
Yes.
And I heard how you said, Dad, so no, don't bother Mom, I got it. So they all already understand.
Exactly.
Let her have this, let somebody else handle it. And that's important. And I think, again, when we recognize the importance of self-care, we recognize that, it shouldn't be an option. It isn't an option.
It really isn't.
Right.
Because either you going to lay down or you going to fall down. So you're going to figure out which one you're going to do. You going to fall out in the floor, or you going to stop and take a break. And you have to plan the break. Like Youth Pastor Faith was saying in the training the last time. She said, self-care to me is when I get to a certain limit, then I say I can't deal with it anymore, don't give me anymore. I said actually self-care is setting the limit of what you can do before. Don't let people continue to give you things and it overwhelms you and you've committed yourself. Now you've got your mental trepidation because you committed to it and you want to do it. You should have a guideline. This is what I can handle and what I can do well, and take on that responsibility and do it to your full ability. And then when that time is up, then I cannot take anything else. This is what I can handle. And next year, if they need a different project or something else you want to get involved in, because sometimes we'll overextend ourselves.
Yes, we will.
Because we love to do stuff.
That's right.
So I'll be like, oh, great, I can do that. Or as my mom tell me, you can do a lot of things, but you can't do them all at one time.
That's right.
So pick you something. Be faithful in that. Give that your 100%. And when it's time to clock out and take your break.
That's it. Oh, Didi, that's very important what you said. So is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you feel is important that we need to share with our viewers?
If I could leave any one thing with people about self-care is it's not selfish. It's just not. And people will make you feel that way because you are drawing a boundary, because you're not feeling whatever role they want you to feel at that time. Just like your car, you have to maintenance or it's going to break down. So you have to take care of yourself. How would you be if you let yourself go? You didn't take care of your body and then you died. Your children needed a mother for their lifetime. When they don't have a mother, or your husband doesn't have a wife, because you are out of balance. You're out of balance yourself. So in your relationship with God, because this is really big too, in your relationship with God, recognizing that God is the creator of all things. God created therapy. God is the one that made sure that we had what we needed. And if you want someone that's a person of faith, like myself, some of my clients choose me because I am a Christian and they want to pray in the session. So if you want to pray in the session, we can pray in the session. But we can also work through whatever you're going through together. It's not a decision of, if I choose therapy, I don't trust God. You can trust God that the therapy will help you together.
Oh, that's great. So listen, you have heard it from the counselor yourself. You heard it today, Ms. D. Peterson. I'm sure her information will be on the screen. I know she's already mentioned that the counseling numbers have risen, people needing counseling. But I'm sure sometimes she may have some openings. And if you are in need of a good Christian counselor, I truly would recommend Ms. Peterson. She's a great person. She has an awesome personality. You may laugh some. She may even give you a minute to cry. I don't know. But she's just an excellent counselor and an excellent resource. So if you would, I don't know whether you have a particular website or a phone number, or if people were interested in finding or contacting you, if you'd like to share that.
Sure.
If you need it, she's about to tell you.
I am listed on Arch Counseling's website, which is archcounseling.org. And you can see all the counselors that are on our staff. There's a staff right now, I think, of maybe 11. Most of us are offering telehealth services. So if you are not in the Alabama area, you can always participate. It's kind of like FaceTime therapy. So we do offer like online therapy. We offer in-person therapy. My office is located at 2330 Montgomery Highway in Dothan, Alabama. And I can be reached via email at DeAndrea@archcounseling.org. And my name is spelled, because my mom's exciting, it's spelled DeAndrea @archcounseling.org.
All right. Well, thank you again, Ms. Peterson. Thank you, audience and viewers. Listen, if you have enjoyed this session today, I ask that you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and drop us a note. Drop us some comments of topics that you may be interested in. But again, we strive to bring you great conversation, and again, we want to meet the needs. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Andrea Revels. Until the next time.